Okay, today we're looking at percents and decimals. And let's see, I'm trying to get my marker working, make sure we got everything going. This is 7.3 in our book, and we're looking at the relationship between percents and decimals. Okay, and there's two things we kind of need to look at. Two things you already know, but we're going to review. Okay, to write a decimal as a percent, move the decimal point two places to the right and write a percent sign by the number. Okay, so if I've got just a number and I want to turn it into a percent, I simply move the decimal two places, okay, to the right. Um, so if I want to change the percent to a decimal, I move the decimal point two places to the left and remove the percent sign. Okay, so if I'm going from percent to decimal, I'm making it smaller. And if you have a hard time remembering that, just remember 50% is the same as 1/2. 50 is bigger, 1/2 is smaller. Okay, so if I want to make 50% into a real number, it's got to equal 1/2. So if I move it two places to the right, it's going to be a really big number. So I need to move it two places to the left. So going from percent to decimal to the left, from decimal to percent to the right. Okay, so let's look at a few of these problems. Right 0.62, 1, and 2.3 is percents. Okay, so again, I'm going to move it two places to the right. So 0.62 becomes 62%. 1, well, the decimal on 1 is right there. So if I move it two places to the right, that becomes 100%. Okay, then 2.3, move it two places to the right, becomes 230%. Okay, change the percent to decimal. Okay, decimals here, move it two places to the left, that's 0.75. Okay, again, this is 0.4%, move it two places to the left, that becomes 0.004, very small number. 168, move it from here to here, that's 1.68. Okay, let's look at this. Write the decimal as a percent or the percent as a decimal. Okay, we're going to make the decimal with percent. Two places to the right becomes 46.1%. Here, two places to the right becomes 500%. Two places to the right, that's 190%. Two places to the right, I almost went three places, but it's 0.7%. Okay, now you may ask, how do we have 500% of something? Well, that just means it's five times the original. So if we've got a gallon of water and we have 500% of that gallon of water would be 5 gallons of water. Okay, would be more than that. Okay, so here, let's make 27% a decimal. We're going to move it two places to the left, so it's 0.27. Okay, here, 184%, move it two places to the left, that is 1.84. 3%, two places to the left, that's 0.003. Then 0.55%, I'm going to make it even smaller. Two places to the left, that's 0.0055. Okay, very basic stuff. Write the fraction as a percent. Now this is very easy to do, especially with a calculator. Um, but sometimes it helps if we know our FDEs. But all we have to do, we need to change the fraction to a decimal. Notice these fractions, it would be hard to make another fraction with a denominator that is 100. I'm going to have to find something weird to multiply 8 by to make it equal 100. So this doesn't work real well for us unless the denominator is something that goes into 100 evenly. So what we have to do is simply divide the numerator by the denominator. Do what the sign tells you to do. This is division. So it's 7 divided by 8. In your calculator, it's just 7 divided by 8. But you know that 7/8, if you know your FTEs, is 0.875. And if I were to divide that, that's what I would get. Now, once it's in decimal form, I move it two places to the right. That's 87.5%. Okay? And know that is because this is close to 1, and 1 would be 100%. 7/8 is very close to 1, so this makes sense. And I marked right through our answer. This makes sense. Okay? 5/12. Well, we're going to divide 5 by 12, and we're going to get 0.416 with the 6 repeating. Okay, move the decimal two places to the right to turn it into percent. 41.6%. Okay, here, 11 divided by 6. Well, that is going to be, if we look at that, that's 1 and 5/6, right? 1 and 5/6. 5/6, if you know your FDEs, should be 0.83 with the 3 repeating. Okay, now we've turned this into a decimal. Let's change it into a percentage. 2 places to the right, that's 183.3 repeating percent. Notice this 3 keeps going. So if I move the decimal here, I can simply put another 3 behind the decimal and show that it is a repeating decimal. Okay, 5 divided by 4, well, that's going to be 1 1/4. Well, if you know your FTEs, 1/4 is 0.25, right? So it's 1.25. Move the decimal to the right, that's 125%. Okay, moving on. 20% of 85. Well, in the past, we changed this to a fraction in the multiplied. Today, we're changing it to a decimal. The point is, we can't use a percentage when we're finding a percentage of a number. We have to change it, the percentage, to a real number to work with. Okay, here we're going to change it to a decimal. That becomes 0.2 or 0.20 times 85. Well, 0.2, excuse me, let's see, 0.2 times 85. Yeah, that's going to equal 17. Okay, so we get 17 as the answer here. 3.8% of 45. Well, change it to a decimal. 1, 2. I'm going to have 0.038 times 45. 0.038 times 45 gives us 1.71. Okay, very easy to work with decimals and percentages. I move the decimal 2 places to the left. 1.25 times 64, and I'm going to get a bigger number because 100% of 64 is 64. So 125% of 64 is going to be bigger. So 1.25 times 64, that's going to give us 80. Okay, then 0.5% of 600. Well, 0.5%, change it to a decimal, 0.005, or a real number, times 600. Okay, 0.005 times 600. That's going to equal 3, very small number. Okay, word problem. In a survey of 1,100 adults, 2% chose cooking as their favorite leisure activity. How many adults chose cooking? Okay, well, it's just 2% of 1,100. So change 2% to a decimal. That is 0.02 times 1,100. Okay, 0.02 times 1,100. That's going to equal 22. And 22 adults chose cooking. Okay. Here, order from least to greatest. Today we're going to put everything in decimal form. Okay, so the first one is 1.20. Move the decimal 2 places to the left. 13 divided by 10, well, that's 1 3/10, which is 1.3. Okay, 1.25 is already in decimal form. That's very easy. Well, 8/6, that's going to be 1 2/6, right? 1 2/6, which is 1 1/3, which is 1.3 repeating. Correct? Okay, now we just have to order these. Well, 1.2 is the smallest, then 1.25, then 1.3, then 1.3 repeating. Okay, it's as simple as that. All you have to remember, now the mistakes are made here when we're changing a fraction to a percent, we divide the top by the bottom number. We still have people wanting to divide the bottom number by the top. In the calculator, it's 13 divided by 10, 8 divided by 6. Very logical sequence. Top number divided by the bottom number. If you're long dividing, it's the top in, the bottom out. Here, top in, bottom out. It's this number divided by this number. Okay, and that's all you need to know for 7.3.